Chapter 6, Test Review, Equations and Inequalities. Number 1 says Edwin's mother is 57 years old. Her age is 3 years more than twice Edwin's age. What is Edwin's age? So to find, we know that 57 years old is his mother, so it has to equal 57. Her age is 3 years more than twice Edwin's age. So we're going to say W equals Edwin's age. So I know that I have 3 plus 2W equals 57. So to solve this equation, I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. By doing that, that gives me 54 equals 3 minus 3 is 0. I'm left with my variable. I want to always get my variables by itself. So here I have 2 times some number equals 54. So to solve, I want to divide each by 2. 2W divided by 2, the 2's cancel out. I'm left with W equals 54 divided by 2, which is 27 years old. In number 2, it says in a basketball game, Benito scored 3 points less than twice the number of points Carnell scored. Carnell scored 8 points. How many points did Benito score? So again, Carnito scored 8 points. That's what it has to equal. Benito scored 3 points less than twice the number of points that Cartito scored. Okay, so we know that 2 times 8, because Carnell score, so I have 8W minus 3 is going to equal Benito score, which is W. Forget what I just said. In this video, it says Benito scores 3 points less than twice the number of points Carnito scored. Well, Carnito scored 8 points. So if we take 8 points twice, which is 8 times 2, and then we subtract 3 because he scored 3 points less than twice the number that he scored. 8 times 2 is 16, minus 3 is 13W. Number 3 says, what is the solution to the equation? So we want to make sure we get our variable by itself. In order to do that, I want to think opposite. So t plus 16 equals 7. So I'm going to subtract 16 from both sides. 16 minus 16 is 0. I'm left with t equals 7 minus 16 is negative 9. Number 4, w divided by 4 equals negative 11. So what I need to do is multiply both sides by 4. 4 and 4 cancel out, which leaves me with w equals negative 11 times 4, which is a negative 44. And number 5, 81 equals 3k. So 3 and a variable next to each other means to multiply. So I do the opposite, which is to divide each side by 3. 3k divided by 3, I'm left with k. 81 divided by 3 is 27. When I look at number 6, this is a two-step equation. So again, I want to get my variable by itself. So I want to add 8 to both sides. When I do that, 8 minus 8 is 0, so I have 5, 6x equals negative 20. So then I take 20 over 1 divided by 5, 6, which if I use my keep, change, flip rule, I keep my fraction 20 over 1. I change the sign from divide to multiply, and I flip my second fraction, which would be 6 over 5. 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 20 4 times, and when I multiply 6 times 4, I get 24. Number 7, I have 1/2. Z equals 9 1/4. So again, I want to divide each by 1/2. 1/2 Z divided by 1/2, I'm left with Z. Z is going to equal 9 1/4 divided by 1/2. Again, if I go with my keep, change, flip solution, I'm going to change 9 1/4 to an improper fraction. 4 times 9 is 36, plus 1 is 37. Fourths, change the sign to multiply, 2 over 1. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 4 twice. Multiply, I get 37 over 2. And when I divide, I get 1, 18 and a half equals Z. Down below, I have 37 equals 18Q plus 1. So I want to subtract 1 from both sides. That gives me 36 equals 18Q. I divide each by 18. 36 divided by 18 is 2. 18Q divided by 18, 18's cancel out, and I'm left with Q. Number 9, I have 2y minus 1 7/10 equals 3 3/10. So again, to get my variable by itself, I do the opposite, and I add 1.7 to both groups. This leaves 1.7 minus 1.7 is 0, so I'm left with 2y equals 5. I then divide each by 2 to get y equals 2.5. And if you want to write that as a decimal, that's fine too. Number 10 says the length of each side of a square was decreased by 2 inches, so the perimeter is now 48 inches. What is the original length of each side of the square? So if I'm looking at each side, and we have minus 2 from each one, because the square is the same side, that would be 8 inches that we took away. So I'd have to add 48 plus the 8 inches that they took off, which is 56, and take 56 inches divided by 4 sides, which is going to be 14 inches per side. Number 11 and 12 wants you to write an equivalent equation for each given equation. So number 11, if I keep my variable over here by itself and I subtract 11 from both sides, 11 minus 11 is 0, so I'm left with 4x equals 4. That's my equivalent equation. Number 12, 3 times the quantity of x minus 9 minus equals 3. So if I want to divide each of these by 3, because I want to get my variable, so it's in the parentheses by itself, my 3's cancel out. 3 divided by 3 is 1. I am left with x minus 9. Solve each equation. So again, same thing that we've been working on. I have 3/10 times some number equals 51, so I divide each by 0.3. And when I do that, 0.3 divided by 0.3 is 1, so I'm left with A equals 51 divided by 0.3 is 170. 14, some number divided by 5 2/10 equals 16. So I want to multiply both sides by 5 2/10. So 5 2/10 and 5 2/10 have the same common factor. They cancel each other out. I'm left with z equals 16 times 5.2, which is 83 2/10. Number 15, again, I want to get my variable by itself, so I do the opposite of add 5, which is to subtract 5 from both sides. 5 minus 5 is 0. Those cancel out. I'm left with x equals negative 11. Minus 5 is negative 16. Number 16 says 3 times some number equals 2.7. So again, I want to divide by the coefficient, which is the number connected to the variable. 3 to j divided by 3. My 3's cancel out. I'm left with j equals 2.7 divided by 3, which is 0.9. Number 17, again, x divided by 8 minus 2 equals a negative 3. I want to get my variable by itself, so I'm going to add 2 to both sides. When I do this, 2 minus 2 is 0. I get x divided by 8 equals negative 1. To get my variable by itself, I multiply by the denominator, which is 8. 8 and 8 cancel each other out. I'm left with x equals a negative 8. Number 18, I have negative 4/10 times the quantity of x minus 3 and 8/10 equals a negative 2. So if I divide each of these by a negative 0.4, the 0.4 cancels each other out. I have x minus 3.8 equals negative 2 divided by a negative 0.4 is 5. So then I have to do the opposite. I want to get my x variable by itself, so I'd add 3.8 to both sides. 3.8 minus 3.8 is 0. I am left with x equals 8 and 8/10, 8.8. So number 19, it says each deli sandwich is made uses 1/4 pound of turkey. Tyler started with 3 7/8 pounds of turkey and now has 1 5/8 pounds left. How many deli sandwiches did he make? So I know that here's what we started with, and here's how much he has left. So I have to take 3 7/8 minus 1 5/8, which would be 7 minus 5 is 2/8. 3 minus 1 is 2. So I have 2 2/8. And I want to divide that by now 1/4 because I know 1/4 of a pound goes into each sandwich. So I have 2 2/8 divided by 1/4. I'm going to change this to an improper fraction. So 2 times 8 is 16. Plus 2 is 18 over 8. Change the sign to multiply. Flip my fraction to 4 over 1. When I multiply, 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 4 twice. So when I multiply, I get 36 sandwiches. All right, hold up. I need to go back here again. Sorry. Just want to make sure you guys are on your toes here. When I create my improper fraction, 8 times 2 is 16 plus 2 is 18, but my denominator is 8. It's not 2. Then I change my sign and I flip my fraction to be 4 over 1. Now I know that 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 8 twice. 18 times 1 is 18. 2 times 1 is 2. And 18 divided by 2 is 9 sandwiches. '20, '21, and '22 are all talking about an inequality. So what we need to know is that less than is an open circle and goes in the direction of the arrow. Greater than is open circle and in the direction, the arrow goes in the direction that it's pointing. Less than or equal to, that's a closed circle and it goes to in the direction that the arrow is pointing. And if I have greater than or equal to, again, that's a closed circle pointing to the right because the arrow goes to the right. So to graph our data, have x plus 7 is less than or equal to 11. So the same thing, I want to subtract 7 from both sides. 7 minus 7 is 0. I get x equals 11 minus 7, which is 4. Sorry, does not equal 4. As x is less than or equal to 4. So I go to my 4, I put a circle around 4. I look at my sign, it's less than or equal to, so less than or equal to, I need a colored in circle, and my line's going to go to the left. My arrow points to the left, my arrow goes to the left. Number 21, m minus 4 is greater than 12. So again, to get my variable by itself, I want to add 4 to both sides. 4 minus 4 is 0. I get m is greater than 12 plus 4, which is 16. So I go to my graph, I circle 16. It's greater than, so that means it's an open circle, and our arrow goes in the direction to the right. Arrow points right, my arrow goes right. So all of those numbers, 17, 18, and so on, are all greater than 16. Number 22, I have 3 times some number is greater than or equal to negative 24. So again, I am going to divide each by 3. 3p divided by 3, my 3's cancel out, leaving me with p is greater than or equal to negative 8. So I find negative 8 on my number line. I circle it. I look at my inequality. It's greater than or equal to. So my greater than or equal to means I have a shaded in circle and my arrow is pointing to the right, so I have to have an arrow pointed to the right. I want you guys to review for the test on Tuesday. Practice, practice, practice. Go to McGraw-Hill, go to the self-check quizzes and practice those there. This will be one of the last tests that you have for the year. You'll have your Chapter 6 test on Tuesday.